Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Chabot College. We appreciate your attendance here today. My name is Dionisia Ramos. I'm the Director of Public Relations, Marketing, and Government Relations for the Chabot Las Positas Community College District, and I will be the moderator for today's forum. We're delighted to have Dr. Michael Odu join us today for Chabot's President Finalist Forum. Before we formally welcome Dr. Odu, let me take a minute to review what to expect at today's forum. The forum is scheduled for 60 minutes. We will have approximately 18 minutes for general questions posed by the moderator and another 25 minutes for audience questions. The candidate will have 4 to 5 minutes to provide brief opening remarks. There are 4 general questions that have been prepared to help facilitate the session. I will ask the question and allow the candidate to respond. There are microphones set up on either side of the room here. After we conclude the general question portion of the forum, audience members may line up behind the microphone to ask a question. I welcome you to start by sharing your name and your role within the district or in the community. Please limit your questions to 30 seconds or less and only 1 question per person. Please be courteous in your manner of asking questions. And 5 minutes before the end of the session, we will conclude audience questions and invite the candidate to provide closing remarks. Audience members will have the opportunity to complete online feedback forms. The links will be on the President Search webpage, as well as on the QR codes that you see here. If you'd like to take those, you'd be able to reach the page that we're talking about. Information on accessing the recorded forum and feedback forms will be provided via email after the forums. All surveys will be anonymous. The feedback forms will be compiled and shared with the Chancellor to be included in his deliberation. So thank you again for your presence here today. With that, we will begin today's forum. I'd like to formally introduce Dr. Michael Odu to today's forum. Dr. Odu, it is our pleasure to invite you to provide brief opening remarks. You have 5 minutes allocated.
Okay, thank you. So, brief opening remark. Remember what she said? You got to show me some love now. So when you posting your questions, make sure you remember that. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this forum. And also thank you to Dr. Sperling, for without our outstanding work and our retirement, I won't have this opportunity today. No, that's just the reality of life, you know. So I came to the United States as an immigrant from an educational background that is deeply British and grounded on biased colonial assumptions. The first college I attended was a community college, and I have stayed in the community college all through my professional life. I'm almost 60 years old. As a student, I was the first in my family to go to college. I was an adult learner, juggling multiple jobs, including working as a custodian. So whenever you're looking for me around the campus and you don't see me, check the custodian shed. I'm very likely hanging out with them there. And I had to change my major multiple times. As such, I truly believe I am well conversant and quite familiar with the barriers, cultures, structures, and opportunities of a community college. What attracted me to this position, amongst other things, is a mixture of your history, your mission, and my own personal goals. You are located in the 3rd most diverse city in the US. You are also a premier, equity-minded institution. Your achievements under Dr. Sperling put you in a unique position to be at the forefront of leading, guiding, and being at the cutting edge of academia. My strength is one built on the notion that community colleges of today are becoming, or actually has become, outdated. The structures upon which the system was built can no longer sustain or satisfy the times in which we live, and I am convinced that we must change the structures to meet a rapidly changing world. This is one point at which I feel you and I come together. Your commitment to the success of all students guarantees its foray into changing the structures, and I believe I can contribute immensely to steering the community college system in that evolutionary process of becoming, my mission for life, a student-ready college, with you leading the way as a leader college. Why? You see, the days of us asking ourselves if students are college ready, those days are gone. As an open admission academy that accepts students from all walks of life, there is a need for an operational model that is accessible, equitable, inclusive, and welcoming in the way we conduct business. We need to shift from a transactional deficit model to one that is transformational. We need to humanize the work we do in academia. You know why? Even a broken system is made of people. And we should start showing our hardworking employees some love. Because if students are truly at the center of the work we do in academia, then our employees, our first responders, our frontline staff are at the foundation of that work. We cannot have one without the other. We cannot transform the lives of our students without transforming the lives of our employees. We cannot have a sustainable student success ecosystem without investing in our employees, without showing them some love. So, if we truly want to live up to the mission, vision, and core values, we are the ones that should be ready for today's student body and employees, not the other way around. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start with the first question. The president of Chabot College is expected to be the voice of the institution's mission, values, concerns, and aspirations. What do you think are key components of successful internal and external communication strategies? How would you prioritize different constituencies?
You see, as a president, I work for you. I am of no good if I cannot give you the tools you need to be successful. So, communication-wise, I have to be open. Front door, I will always have office hours. We can always connect. Whether it is forum, like I currently do at Miramar College, you can call my faculty, call the classified professionals there. I am everywhere. I am visible. I am accessible. So that connection, I believe, is very important. And that is why in my opening, I made a point. Investing in our employees. I challenge any one of you. Dig into any literature out there on community colleges or academia in general. Very rare will you find anyone writing about the value of investing in employees. They've taken us for granted. They believe things just happen by miracle. No, that's not the reality of life. Who am I to ask you to put students first if I am not willing to put you first? Think about that. That is the reality of the life we live in. But you know what? This started long time ago because that is how this system was founded. And we are so, drenched in that system, we are not willing to challenge the system to serve the needs. I keep saying it. Not only the needs of today's students, but what about the employees? What about our classified professionals? What about our custodians? What about the adjuncts? We do not have a college. Take a look at how beautiful this college is. I walked around. The beauty of this college is because of the work of the groundskeeper. Don't they deserve some love? Really? And I'm not saying that because I was a custodian worker back in my days. I have to show them some love, But really, how many times do we invite them? You talk about communication. How many times do we invite folks to the table? So it is not a matter of who are we reaching. What about the folks, the invisible ones, the folks we've never reached? That's what I'm going to do. Who are we not reaching? And why? Why? Look, don't get me wrong. Maybe something happened along the path. If something did happen, how can we bring them back to the fold? You know why? It takes a village to raise a child, including those who do not look like us. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognizing that we all have some limitations, what characteristics or qualities might hamper or enhance your effectiveness as president? It is said that we learn from our mistakes. Can you mention an honest mistake that taught you an important lesson and how you confronted the consequences of that mistake?
Wow. I make mistakes all my life. And that's the point, because I do not have the answers. This system has been in existence for more than 100 years. If we all have the answers, you would take a look at our graduation rates. Take a look at our success rate. Take a look at our retention rate. So mistakes, I make mistakes all the time. Really, you can pick on any one of them. Yesterday, I met with some faculty. They have some concerns. They brought, a statement to me, and I told them this. I said, look, I am offended. I put it out there. You will always know where I stand. When we disagree, I will tell you. This is why we are not on the same page. Look, I am an open book. So why was I offended with what they wrote down? Because when I came to Miramar College, the faculty and administrators were like this. And we've done our best to really, I use the word, bring some love. During the pandemic, my screen name for the entire college was Miramar Love. Anywhere you go, it's all about Miramar Love. And we've done great work. Now, you go to Miramar, it's now Miramar 2.0, because now we are now back face to face. So it's like, after all this work we've done, why do you folks put this in writing? What is going on? Yeah, it is not my area, but nevertheless, I thought we've done a lot of work. So personally, I told them, I don't like that. But nevertheless, I recognize where they were coming from, right? So what is going on in your area? How can we bridge the gap? How can we work together? So some may say that, geez, Michael, as a VP, as a leadership, you shouldn't tell people that, oh, I am offended, I don't like this. That's what it is. Really, it is the reality. But after all said and done, guess what? They knew my point, and I knew where they were coming from. And we found a way to bridge the gap and say, okay, we'll move on together, we'll find a solution. And that was just it. We'll move together. Even though it's not my area, we'll find a solution. But I made it a point. I am going to meet with you folks. We are going to find a way to make this work. Not just to make this work for the work that we do in academia, because we all have one thing in common. We all serve the same student, right? The student taking math is going to take English. That student might be on financial aid. That student might be homeless. So we are all in this together. So mistakes, we make mistakes all the time. And I will always put myself out there. Because when I put myself out there, now it gives you permission to call out your own mistakes too. When I went with some faculty at Miramar College, some of them said this out. This is the first time someone in leadership, a VP, said, Jace, I make mistakes too. Because every one of us, we feel so superior. It's like we control everything. No, we don't. We are humans. We are crazy. We do a lot of BS. That's just the reality. Call it out. Really. No one has the answer. You give me the opportunity to serve you, I will make mistakes. We're going to hang out together. We're going to talk. We're going to walk over it, and we're going to move on. After all said and done, we are all in this together. Because I am because of you. That's just it. And I work for you. Okay.
Thank you. How do you envision working to make higher education more accessible and affordable for all students, regardless of their background or financial situation?
Yeah, see, this system, right, the community college system, more than 100 years ago, came into existence, and it served the population it was catered to back in the days. So if we want to make this accessible for everyone, we really have to go back to the drawing board. And that is why I have this vision I call becoming a student-ready college. And again, the best example I can use, because we all like to use phrases, right? You see, even some of the four-year colleges today are now jumping on the bandwagon of HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution. You know the reality? They are simply Hispanic enrolling institutions. They are not serving. So what really are we doing? So what is access? You're talking about access? More than 60% of our students are part-time students. More than 60% of our students take classes outside of the traditional morning, early afternoon. Access? When does your library close? When does your cafeteria close? So before we even get into everything else, why don't we start with the basics? And I will just leave it at that, because now you know where I'm coming from.
The final question in this part of the forum: how do you plan to stay informed about the evolving needs and expectations of students, faculty, classified professionals, administrators, and the broader higher education landscape?
Oh, I am everywhere. Apart from attending, the American Association of Community Colleges, the League for Innovation, not only do I attend, participate in leadership forum, I make presentations, culturally relevant teaching practices, I make presentations. I still teach as an adjunct to stay current on the changes in the scholarship of teaching and learning, because I invest personally. I teach math. I love teaching, So I am always in presentation. Phi Theta Kappa honor students, I work with students on their undergraduate research. One thing we just did recently was ChatGPT. Man, I love that. Put in the questions, we get the answer, and I challenge the students. Now critique the answer. That's it. Oh, no, I'm going to bring it out to them. I think it's very important we invest in the scholarship of teaching and learning and get everyone involved. At Miramar College, even at Southwestern College, I meet with constituent leaders regularly. I don't know what is going on in your area, and who am I to tell you how to do your job? So we have conversations. Help me out. I believe in shared governance. Participatory governance is okay because I don't just want your input. I want you to claim ownership, because once you claim ownership, now I can hold you accountable if things don't go right in your area. You see that now? You see? Yeah, we are all in this together. So look, it takes every one of us working together. For every student that crosses that finish line, I'm telling you, it takes every one of us to make it happen. And that is why when I look at enrollment, I consider enrollment really as the holistic student journey before they come to us, and post-graduation, because we want them as alumni, right? We want them to contribute after we help them finish. So we should look at things that way. Classified professionals are part of the enrollment management team. Every one of us are all connected. Student success, ask yourself the question, who is really responsible for student success? It's not only counselors, it's not just faculty, it's every one of us, including our administrative services. But do people say it that way? It is our responsibility as leaders to connect the dots, to let everyone know that, look, we are all in this together. So I'll meet with people. I will work with you, whatever the issues are. I will represent our college at the district office, because the district office does a lot of work, and we have to show them some love also. But I will always fight for you. I will bring the vision of the district, the chancellor, the board to life using our own flavor. Because we have our own flavor here, and we should not forget about that. That is who we are. Identity, right? A place where we belong. Not just a place where we're going to fit in. There's a difference between fitting in and belonging. And I will make sure that every one of us does belong to this place that is based on our ancestors. Okay.
Thank you. We will now transition to questions from the audience. Please safely make
Hey, don't fight now. Don't fight. Don't fight. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
We will alternate on either side of the room. We have approximately 25 minutes for this section of the forum. A reminder to introduce yourself. You have 30 seconds or less to ask your question, and only one question per person, please. And we'll start on this side of the room and alternate. Thank you.
Dr. Odu, my name is Katrin Field, and I am a longtime classified professional in student services. I'm also a classified union leader here at Chabot College. And I heard you mention systemic challenges in our higher educational system. And my question is, classified professionals face their own unique challenges in this system. And I would like to hear maybe an example where you have worked with classified professionals and supported them in their challenges.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that question. Again, the classified professionals are one of those folks behind the scene that does this marvelous work we never give them credit for unless when things break up. Really, really. Professional development, opportunity for advancement. At Miramar today, we are going through a reorganization, and I am calling it out. When you take a look at the dean's office at Miramar College, including the VPI's office, the highest position there is really at like a secretary or admin assistant. There is no supervisory position. So which means you can be in that position for the rest of your life. Not good enough. Are you not good enough to advance? Really? After all the work you do? So we are calling for more opportunities for our classified professionals to advance. You bring in the union. I grew up in a union household in Nigeria. I was brought up to believe that only the union can fight for the quality and integrity of the product. I love the union. And I have been very fortunate. Southwestern College, the union lead and the negotiator was in my school. So I have that advantage because each time they fill me in with things going on. At Miramar, one of the union rep is also in the instructional side. So I work well with them. And classified professional academic senate at Miramar College, they have big issues, and I keep going there. I want more folks involved. But you know why folks are not getting involved? Imagine this. So we say, classified professionals, please attend academic senate meeting, right? But when they go to the meeting and they come back to their job, you still have the pile of work to do. It doesn't make sense. So no, when you come back, now prioritize what needs to be done for that day. And so that is what we're doing. So absolutely, it's very, very important we support our classified professionals, not just recognizing their work 1 week in a year, no, every day. And really, and when we negotiate, we also have to consider that too, and help them with professional development opportunities. And those professional development opportunities give them release time, really. And I've been fighting for that, and I will continue to fight for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Christine Herrera, and I am the Senior Administrative Assistant in the President's Office. As a confidential, supervisors and confidentials are not and do not have union representation. As our leader, President, how will you support and guide the confidentials and supervisors that come to you with issues or concerns, and especially for those in your office?
Again, see, if there is a way to have a union that will represent, I will support that. And let me tell you why. In Florida, even though a lot of issues going on in Florida today, I used to be in Florida, and we fought for the, back in my days in Florida, adjunct at Hillsborough Community College, there was no union. I was one of those fighting for them to be unionized, and they did. Now, I don't know the status of the union component in Florida, but when we unionized, we took our case each time to Tallahassee, which is like their Sacramento, to fight for them. So your issues, the issues of our professionals, will always be number one for me. Again, look, you just said you work in the president's office. Do you know how important that is? When I'm hanging out with my custodians, and people come to the president's office, guess who is going to be responsible? You! And why wouldn't I show you some love? Why wouldn't I just put you in front of everything that I do? So that is a personal promise that, oh yeah. And again, I'm not just saying that because of this is an interview process. Oh no. Also, we are a multi-college district. We also have to look at what is going on in our sister's college and also bring those cases up because we are a district, and when we have any type of negotiation is done across the district. So we have to work together. I'm not the only one that will be fighting for this. I'm hoping my peer, my colleagues will also be fighting for this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Robert Yest. I'm one of the math faculty members here at Chabot. And this is an AB 1705 question. There are California community colleges that have included in their implementation of AB 1705 the removal of pre-transfer credit math courses from their course offerings. Some don't even offer non-credit courses. How would you advise a student who, after starting at the transfer level math course, has not been successful even with tutoring, with in-class support, or co-requisite support? The student feels that repeating the transfer level course would be frustrating and that they would need to build a more solid foundation, perhaps due to COVID or poor high school or inadequate high school learning. But their institution does not offer the foundational pre-transfer class that they need and they feel that they want. Without these credit courses available, they would have trouble meeting their financial aid eligibility without overloading their workload. How would you advise a student for their path forward?
Okay, you see, man, I love that question. And for you to know who I am, I love AB 705 and AB 1705. When I came to California in 2016, one of the greatest things I believe California did was student-centered funding formula. I want to be held accountable for the work that I do in helping students of color to the finish line. AB 705, AB 1705, I want to be held accountable for making sure our students of color are not denied opportunity or making them taking classes that they shouldn't be taking. I teach math. I have a PhD in math. Not all students should be taking algebra. You know why? Algebra is not the only pathway to the enlightened life. Really. And yet, we put every one of them there and force them to take algebra. What about statistics? What about finite math? Now, to answer your question, we need opportunities for courses that are non-credit to help students. Sometimes we call those the X courses. Sometimes we control the curriculum. When I say we, faculty, you control the curriculum. You can have students take math classes that are designed for their major. My college, Southwestern College, we played with that. Miramar College, we are doing that today. So let's take a look at what is going on. Let's take a look at who these students are. Can we design a tailored math that will fit into the major of these students? We are doing it today in chemistry at Miramar College. We're doing it today in physics at Miramar College. Apart from the X courses, you're taking a college level math, you have the X for the support course. We're still doing those things. Now, in particular, this particular student, I need to know the major, I need to know their pathway, because there are some pathways that can take courses that are not college level. The California AB 1705 allows that, depending on the degree level. So it's a matter of us sitting together and making a case for that. Bottom line is, it can be done. We can find a home for that student. We can find a place for that student. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Coleman. I'm the Dean of Applied Technology and Business here at Chabot College. My question is about accountability. So as the president of the college, you would be looked at as the person who thinks about accountability from a holistic perspective of how the college functions. Me as the dean in my own division, that is an expectation I have, and it starts with me first. So my question to you is, how would you exemplify that on a campus and apply that to those within the campus community to really be accountable for their actions?
So thank you for that question. See, when I talk about participatory governance and shared governance, right? I talked about shared governance. Why do I love shared governance? Once you take ownership in something, that is telling us that you will be held accountable. For everything I say here, at the top of my list is accountability. Because you see, we all want to be free. We all want a home. We all want to be welcome. But part of that comes with accountability. For each responsibility, there has to be that element of accountability. And it starts with me selling that message to my VPs, to the deans, and to all the supervisors and everyone else. We shall hold each other accountable for everything that we do at the college. But I will throw one more curve there. As the president, because I want to challenge and empower you at the same time to always do your very best, to be sure that whatever you say is the right thing, and to take a chance as needed. And that taking chances, I think, is very important, because you take a chance based on data. Sometimes things will not go right. Things go wrong. When you do that, I will always defend you. I will rather take the fall than put you on the front line. Oh, no way. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's not just who I am or how I know how to live life. I will rather step down when one of you did something that you said, Michael, I took a chance. This is the data to show. This is what I'm trying to do. Oh, I will fight for you. To me, that is the highest point of accountability. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Neva Bandelo. I'm the director of the California Early Childhood Mentor Program that's housed here at Chabot. At our campus, we have an early childhood lab school for students. We also have, of course, our education program that helps students earn their certificates and their early childhood degrees, and we have the mentor program. In your role, as we know that early childhood workforce is really having a mass exodus, how would you see your role in supporting our efforts to bring those entities that I just mentioned together in order to increase enrollment and help ready the workforce for early childhood as we need to recuperate our losses?
Again, so thank you. Miramar College, one thing we did with our early childhood, in our child development program, do you know that most colleges, in their child development area, early childhood, and maybe the same thing is here, the folks they employ to work in daycare, in child development care at the colleges, those folks make less than minimum wage? Yes. So you tell me this. Our own people working to educate the future, they are making less. And yet, we point fingers at the rest of the world that they should raise people's salary. It doesn't make any sense. So at Miramar, we worked to increase the money we pay those working in a child development center, early childhood center. So it's having that conversation. Where are we today as a college? Where do we have to go? And coming up with a plan. And that plan will share. It has to make sense. See, because everything we do, right? Every work we do, every major, every area leads to a livable wage job. That is the key. We forget that. In California especially. It's not just a job. No, livable, one that you can actually live, make a living out of. So it's having that conversation, going out there and telling people, this is who we are. We see you, we hear you, we feel you. We're going to do this together because without early childhood education, guess what? Adult ed is nothing. So yes, we're going to work together. We're going to come up with an answer, and we shall get it done. Because again, I am saying this because we did something similar to that at Miramar College.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. Brian Gu, Director of Research Planning Institutional Effectiveness. Could you please describe a time where you led an institutional or cultural change? What was your process, and what did you learn from that?
So, how many of you are familiar with CCC Apply? Yeah. So yeah, typically when I bring this up, that's what I hear, and we tend to point fingers at CCC Apply. It doesn't work out well. Students get stuck in there. We lost a lot of students. At Miramar College, we changed an element of CCC Apply to make it work for us, institutional change. And we piloted that change at Miramar College. You see, maybe I'm just lucky, or I am blessed that when I take issue to the powers that be, those above me, they tend to listen to me. Because my point is, look, no one has the answer. And we know what we are currently doing is not working. I have data to show that we can try something else. And in most cases, they said, okay, Michael, why don't you try it? And if it worked, maybe district-wide, we're going to go with the flow. And if it doesn't work, I guess maybe something else happened. We just let it be. So talking about CCC Apply, so what did we do at Miramar College? Last fall, we experimented with academic and career pathways, ACP's guided pathway. So we manually registered or put our students into each pathway. Beginning in the fall of 2023, every student that applies to San Diego Community College District via CCC Apply, when they get to our district, guess what now? The system will put them directly into their ACPs. That is how you make change. We did it at Miramar College. We got the result. We took it to the district. Working with the vice chancellor, we created a system that will allow us to do that. So when you come to me and say something is not working, I always say this, even a system that is broken is made of people. Let's sit down and find a way we can make it work. I'm all for solution. I am also interested in the past because we learn. We want to know what has happened and how we can improve on things. But every problem out there, if I don't have the answer, if I don't know the solution, we work together to find something out of, find a way to make it work. Okay? Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Janine Grillo. I'm one of the health and nutrition faculty. And my question for you is this. What is your experience building and supporting environmental justice and sustainability at your place of work?
Say that again, the last one.
What is your experience with building and supporting environmental justice and sustainability at your place of work?
Oh, wow. Thank you. Environmental justice, absolutely. Everything we do is about respecting the environment. And it starts with asking yourself asking yourself a fundamental question, which, as a human being, maybe we take it for granted that, okay, maybe the older folks like me say, okay, I'm in this world, my time is almost gone, so who cares? No, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why it happens a lot. But if you take your time to really sit down and look at this space and ask yourself, how did you get here? What is your role? Really, if you really sit down and understand that you did not come here on your own, wow, environmental justice, asking yourself about sustainability questions, it becomes a dialogue. It becomes a relationship with you and the environment. At Hillsborough Community College, we started the sustainability and social justice team there. This was 2004, 2005. That was a long time ago, and it's still going on. And today, it becomes a matter of who we are and how do you integrate that in everything that we do, including in the curriculum. And I say that again, including in the curriculum. It's like I say, every degree leads to a job. In every degree, in every pathway, in everything that we do in life, understanding who we are as human beings, understanding the relationship, understanding our connection with the environment, this ecosystem. Once you start building that relationship, it helps you as a person and it relieves stress. Really. So basically it's the foundation of who we are, and in every work that I do, you will always see me promoting sustainability, social justice as we live. Thank you.
Congratulations on being a finalist. I'm Sadie Ashraf, Interim Dean of Counseling, and my question for you is, awareness of mental health concerns have increased on college campuses. What is your vision for ensuring we're meeting the mental health needs and promoting a culture of well-being and increasing a sense of belonging?
Wow. Really? Wow. See, the response is part of my closing statement. But nevertheless, you see, I love your question because the way you phrase it, because typically when a lot of folks ask questions in academia, we talk about what can we do for the students. You did not put it that way. You're talking about every one of us. So yes, you see, COVID did not just affect students. In academia, wow, every one of us, leadership that talks about COVID is the impact on students. What about the emotional, the mental impact on our employees? What about our faculty, staff? We transitioned from on-campus face-to-face to online. Okay, maybe the first semester, it was the middle of the semester, we did it. Then slowly, faculty were trained on how to work with students teaching online. How many of you here, classified professionals, were trained on how to work remotely? How many faculty counselors were trained how to work remotely? Yeah. So you were left alone. In doing that work, what was the impact on your well-being? Because you see, in academia, wow, we take so much for granted in that we have expectations. We have metrics, outcomes. If you are not meeting those outcomes, then all hell breaks loose. So we push. We expect you folks to do more with less at the expense of your well-being. And when we push, you give us some result, we pat you on the back, then you go home exhausted. Who do you take your challenges on? Your loved ones. Are your loved ones not members of the community we say we serve? So my point is, if we really care about the work we say, I use the phrase, we say we do in academia, we should really be caring about the people doing that work, not only calling it out for our students and also for our employees. So I have always invested in the well-being of the people that I work for, because I work for you after all said and done. Whether it is creating that safe space, the flexible opportunities, it is our responsibility to be sure you have what you need to do the best job that you can. After all, we hired you because you were the best. So our well-being, our mental health, physical, emotional, I think it's something that should be written into the mission statement of the college, because typically that is how we tend to get things done. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming today. I'm Cynthia Gordon-DeCruz. I'm the Faculty Coordinator of Institutional Research. So my question is, of course, about data. Can you please give an example of how you have used data or research to inform decision-making in one of your past roles or your current role? And if you remember, please tell us a little bit about the data and how that influenced the decision that you made.
Yeah, I have so many data. Apart from the AB 17051, that was data informed in terms of creating X courses to benefit students. And I know along the path, we did not benefit everyone. So we created courses to benefit those students that were uplifted, those students that we moved into the college, the credit-bearing classes. And those that we did not elevate to those classes, we created the X courses to benefit those students. Nevertheless, when it comes to as an institution overall, Miramar College, each semester, and for the academic year as a whole, the number of students we lose is about 30%. So our persistence is around maybe 60 to 70% each semester. Then during the pandemic, that dropped down to maybe the 50s. So we looked at this data, and the question is, how can we bring these students back? Enrollment Management 101. Hold on to your current students. We tend to spend money chasing every shining object. What about the current students? And by the way, it's in California all through. Now that enrollment is down, guess what now we are throwing money at? Adult learners. As if they've never been there before. As if we just discovered them. So nevertheless, at Miramar, the data shows that we are losing a lot of students. So what did we do? Miramar Love, right? Last fall, about 2,100 students, first time in college. We called every one of them. We called every one of them. Simple questions. How are you doing? Do you know ABC? How can we help you? Guess what happened? This was the fall, right? Persistence, previously, pandemic, in the 50s. As a result, our aspirational goal was maybe 60%. More than 70% of those students from last semester fall came back. Think about that. Just calling and checking on them. So that is how we've used data to support the work that we do. Now, knowing that we can connect with these students by calling them, we are now investing, and if you give me the opportunity, I will bring that here also, on CRM, Customer Relationship Management, giving you opportunity to contact your students via texting, via phone, email, and keeping track with them. Again, when I say keeping track with them, you're not spying on them. It's a journey. You want to be sure you can guide them along that journey. It is no longer butts in the seat. They come to us for semester, we get their money, see ya. Then what is the difference between us and the for-profit colleges? Right? So we are reinventing the way we conduct business in academia. That is how we have used data to help us at Miramar College. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sandra Hernandez. I'm the Puente Project Counselor and Coordinator. My question is, Chabot is a proud Hispanic serving institution. How have you and how would you embrace and cultivate campus-wide HSI culture and identity and work to fully institutionalize our HSI grant services and programs?
Yeah, the key is, you said it right, to institutionalize. Again, we all chase all those monies. And again, don't blame community colleges for chasing all those monies, because the state of California is throwing those monies at us, those one-time money. But we never institutionalize all those monies. Now, the latest news, by the way, the block grant, we all got it. Miramar, our block grant for the next 5 years was supposed to be $5.4 million. It was a text message I got before coming here. $5.4 million. The governor revised budget, now down to $2.5 million. Yes. And guess what? We've made plans. Yeah, we've made plans, and now we have to go back to the drawing board. So it's a matter of, look, I said it at the beginning, I am not interested in being called any serving institution. I really want to do the job. And you have to call people out. I'm sorry. If that is who we are, I am not just interested in getting money from anywhere and say, okay, let's get the money and we move on. No. Then there is no difference between us and the for-profit colleges. So when we bring in those funds, we must live to the mission. College-wide, having everyone on board. And I talk about, like, example, guided pathways. Is it an APC grant? Who are those involved? Are those in the administrative services involved in that conversation on who we are or on who are we becoming? Nothing wrong with that. But it's a matter of us having those conversations. Now, as a multi-district college, institutionalizing any project could be a pain because we have to work with the district. And it will be my responsibility, taking that challenge, working with my counterpart, making to the district and say, this is who we are, this is where we are, or this is who we want to be. And bring it to reality and bring it to life. Thank you.
We do have time for one more question, a brief question and a brief response. Thank you.
A brief, yes.
Hi, my name is Yvonne Wu Craig. I'm the Executive Director of Institutional Advancement, overseeing the Grants Office and the Foundation. You've spoken a lot about what you would do internally, and my office deals a lot with the external community, community partners, businesses, and things like that. What is your experience with with connecting with the outside community? What have you done to make sure that we truly are a community college?
Oh, you see, I cannot make this short, really, because we are a community college. Every work we do has to be connected to the community. Let me give an example. When I talk about academic and career pathways, your major, we've created opportunities where we bring in business and community partners to serve as advisory board members on the ACPs, so that our students are connected to jobs outside of the college. And by the way, when we talk about the community, one mistake people tend to make is we always think the community is something out there. No. Every one of you belong to this community. You have friends, you have families, you have loved ones. Are you not important? I say you are. I think you are. So, working with you and in building relationships with those not on the inside, I think is fundamental. And at Southwestern College, we did that. Miramar College, we're doing that today. And not only just to raise money, because people think you only work with external partners to raise money. No. Are you talking about students that are homeless? Are you building connection with community members to house them? What about your food pantry? Where are you getting the food from? Are you building relationship with community partners to help those students? See, look, a lot of students went to high school on free meal. Now they come to college, so now we don't think they should eat anymore? Think about that. So, but how do we feed them? Working with our community partners. So yes, we are a community college. We cater to the needs of our local community. And everything that we do has to be connected with our local community. And as the president, I will have an advisory board consisting of members of our local community. Because I did that in Florida, and I'm working on that, attending Chamber of Commerce meetings, business meetings in San Diego today. So there is no reason I will not continue on that path. Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciation to those of you who came forward to ask your questions. Before we conclude today's forum, we invite you, Dr. Odu, to provide a brief closing statement. There are 5 minutes allocated for your remarks.
Oh, no worries. It's going to be less than 5 minutes, so that's good. So, when we talk about students, the social determinant of success is very important because success takes place mostly outside of the classroom. So that is why every employee is responsible for student success. So over 100 years ago, folks sat down in a room to design this experiment called the community college system, which worked back then to serve the dominant culture, but we all know it's no longer working today. One big difference, though, is that majority of those folks do not look like you and me. No wonder most students and employees of color still struggle to fit in today because they do not belong. However, with the shifting demographics of a student and employee body, the ongoing effects of the pandemic, the advancement in technology, and the demand for more return on investment from its citizens, there is a need today for community colleges to embrace the changing global economy and develop better informed citizens of the world who are socially responsible leaders. So, we have the opportunity to move to the next level. We can create a place where folks like you and me, for whom higher education was never designed, can feel welcome, supported, and have a sense of belonging. We can create a culture in which it takes a village to raise a child, including those who do not look like us. Indeed, we can create a place we call home, a place where we all belong. If you give me the opportunity to work for you, my fundamental goal as your president will be to chaperone our efforts to radically and unapologetically transform the community college system to one that caters to the needs of today's diverse students and employees as we move deeper into the 21st century. Folks, the time has come for us to live up to our mission, vision, and core values by decolonizing and dismantling institutional barriers, cultures, structures, including those we made on our own, and provide an accessible, inclusive, and welcoming teaching, learning, working environment for all. I look forward to serving you in order to contribute to the fulfillment of your mission and to the advancement of the next era in the community college evolution, a student-ready college in solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Odu, for your interest in the role here at Chabot College and for spending the last hour with us. I want to just remind the audience that the online feedback forms will be available through Sunday, May 21st through 11:59 p.m. You'll receive an email at the latest tomorrow with those links. I want to ask you to please join me in again thanking Dr. Michael Odu.
Thank you. Yeah.